Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. We're back. You guys made it for another episode, and I'm pumped about this one. But to be honest with you, I'm pumped about all of them. I have Brooke Big Red Johnson up in here. I have Randy, Mr. Chill. You know him. He's the Godzilla karaoke. He's the entertainment man here in the area. And we have another guy who's also entertaining everybody out there. So he's currently a producer at 1011 News, which is pretty awesome. We would definitely want to talk to him about that. But he's been in the entertainment industry for many years as a radio DJ. He's DJ'd at strip clubs. He's done it all. So so I can't wait to talk to him. So let's not waste it. Let's welcome our guest, Dale Kovar. Dale, how are you?
Great. Glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me on.
For sure, man. Well, so you kind of share a commonality with Randy and I when it comes to karaoke. I owned a business at one point. Randy is currently killing it in the karaoke world. And from what I hear from people around town, you are as well. So tell me about karaoke and where you're at right now and kind of why you got into karaoke.
Oh, man, it's just it's one of those things that, especially in the Midwest here, in the Lincoln, Omaha, our areas around here, like it's everywhere. And you can't, it's hard to explain. It's fun. There's energy to it. There's people having fun. There's people having a good time. There's people up there singing for the first time. There's people up there that have been singing karaoke forever. There's long-time fans. There's groups of 50s and 60s and 70-year-olds that come in and sing. There's friend groups that bounce from show to show to show on Wednesdays here and on Thursdays there and on Fridays they go here. It's a community. Like and being the host of it and being the one sort of calling the names out and presenting the singers, it's really, really fun. And I've been doing it about 25 years now.
I'm now on 33 years. I know it seems crazy, but what Dale said is totally true. We have such a great community here in Lincoln. And what's funny was when I started, they told me it was dead. They said, "Oh, everybody's tried that. It's dying." And I'm like, "Oh, well, all right, I'll try it." And what you find out is you build your own show with your people and you build your own community and it thrives. So
yeah, and any karaoke host will tell you, like, if you have regulars, that means they're coming back on repeat. That means they're enjoying themselves. They enjoyed themselves last time. They told their friends about it. They brought some friends with them. They keep coming and you see them every week. That means that, it's not all about the karaoke host, but the host does sort of hold the show together and runs the show and keeps the show moving and flowing and brings energy when it needs it. And there's bars in town that refuse karaoke, do not want to ever do karaoke. I'm sure, Randy, you've ran into that too, but and people will downplay and poo-poo on it all they want. But there's no denying that it's how popular it is. And if it's done right, and if it's done well, and if the host does a good job, and if the regulars also provide the atmosphere, when it's done right, you just can't stop it. And it goes on and on and on forever.
I got to be a part with Randy, and he showed me, how to do all these certain things. And I'm like, I couldn't be doing the computer, people yelling at you what song you want, and you're trying to be still, So I just say, "Randy, can I have the mic?" And then I just talk in it because that's the easier thing to do for me. But it takes a lot of work to do that and to get people to come back in. And you have a lot to do. Like, people get pissed if you don't get your song in, or you don't this or that. But you guys have a rhyme to your reason to your rhyme. And I totally respect you guys. I think it's hard. It's kind of like with bands. People don't understand. Why are you charging $1,200? Takes a lot of work to do what you do. And you still you have all your equipment still. It's a lot. You guys, mad respect.
I started in it because I was the business owner. I was the bar, and I was looking for other forms of entertainment to build crowds. And I literally really started with one guy with one guitar doing a one-man band and somebody, doing crowd participation. And my staff was like, "Man, that's really fun. I wish we could do something more like that." And then, of course, somebody said, "Hey, well, have you ever tried karaoke?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And so it turned into my first trip to Neighbors Lounge. and to check it out. And oh, this is kind of fun. And I go, I could do that. And of course, I was fortunate enough to hire, you know, a good karaoke couple that was up on things, and their equipment was good, and had a huge library and all those things that make a good show. And what really did it for me, of course, was having a staff that was behind it. They got involved, they were part of it. And that's what I see that works at places that it works, is that if the establishment is behind it, because there were no like true karaoke bars in town, like not like we saw in the bigger cities where like places were actually built for, you know, to be those kind of places. But, you know, so I didn't get into it, you know, because like I wanted to sing or be a part of that. I just was looking for a business opportunity. And, you know, I don't know about you, Dale, what kind of forced you into it?
It was the same kind of thing. Just sort of, I loved, you know, if you love music, you love listening to music, and then you start seeing the people that come up and want to sing. I mean, it's exciting. There's something that you just can't deny about it, that it's fun to do. And you see somebody come up and sing their song, even if they sang it 100 times. I mean, they still are giving it their everything. So, and also to double down on what you said about the venue getting behind you too. That's one thing that I've always dealt with too. I've done karaoke at a lot of different places in Kansas, around here, everywhere. And if the bar is behind it and supports it and like pushes it also, that's where the success is. You know, some bars just want a karaoke guy to bring people in here, just bring us people, but they're not helping out. They're not, you know, promoting. They're not, you know, posting on social media about it or something. So that's happened too. And it's a mixed bag everywhere you go. But as long as if you have a regular weekly thing and you can kind of provide and keep adding to it and keep people happy, it really can't miss.
But that's how it is at Kelly's Pub that ran with Randy. I mean, he comes to our Christmas parties. He's part of the team, and we appreciate him a lot. And I know he does bring people in. I mean, that's a part of our little, you know, spark to it. We're all a big team, and it's shout out to Kelly's and to Chris Kodad and Dan. Usually he's working.
Well, but it's more than that. It's building that neighborhood community or a group of people that really want to support what you're doing. By showing up every week, it validates what you're doing, and you're doing it well. Kane, how did you get in? How did you get into it?
Karaoke for me was just like the natural next step. I already owned all the equipment for all the bands that I was in, and I had a lot of equipment, and I would have such a good rapport with the owners as I played in these bands that they would ask me like, "Hey man, do you DJ or do karaoke?" And I was like, I no, but I can, right? So I got music. I got together with somebody who helped me out with his business, and I learned from him, and then we just kind of went from there. And so that's kind of how I got into it. I just, for a lot of KJs, I think that some of them, well, I can't say all of them, but some of them fall into it because they're musicians and they just have such a heavy love for music anyway. It seems like the natural next step.
Yeah, I definitely had a love for music. And when I first started, I had like, I don't know, probably like the 30 most amazing singers in town would come to my shows. So much so, like, I go, I'm never going to sing because I would be embarrassed, you know, with all these guys. But I did learn over time that there is a different element to getting new people and people that just want to have fun. And it's, you know, singing with each other is more than just having the best performance by everybody.
Being a karaoke guy, you got to listen to that, because the people that don't like karaoke, they don't like it for reasons. So if you start asking what those reasons are, and then give them the opposite, do the opposite, or do better, do differently from their experience, because they had maybe had a bad experience somewhere down there somewhere. And like, if you just kind of do the opposite, do better, and they'll come, you know.
I think the biggest stagnation for us is as hosts or DJs is that the monotony of it. People sing the same songs because they don't venture out of their norm. And so one of the things that I have found to be useful is to try to encourage people to try new things and get them out of their comfort zone, or just, experience different songs with their friends, and everybody always wants that little moral support before they they risk that next big song or whatever. But you know, I think that's where the real community comes from, is when everybody starts to feel comfortable that they're not afraid to go murder their favorite song.
And that's one thing a good host will do is they'll look at somebody's list, might only be 3 or 4 or 5 songs that they come back and do all the time. But if you look at that little list and give them ideas like, hey, if you do Adele, maybe you could also do this Whitney song or whatever. You can start kind of suggesting stuff, and then they'll be like, all right, I'll listen to it. And then they sing along with it on YouTube or something. They try it and they figure out that, yeah, that matches my voice. It fits. That's what a good karaoke guy can, or gal can, like, see, you know, and hear.
There's so much more to it than being a button pusher. And I think that's what people don't understand. And for like some of the young kids, like I had younger people working for me. And the thing that frustrated me was I could never, and I'm not saying I'm the best. No, that's not it. But I could never clone myself to make the show exactly how I did it. And I think you probably do it the way Randy and I did it, is you got to throw a party for people. You got to give them a good time. I always made it like, if we all met at a garage, right? And I was the crazy drunk uncle playing air guitar in the corner and get people riled up. That's exactly how I would run the show. But I would also be a professional about it. I would party with these people. I would hang out with them. And so for you young guys trying to get into the business, just know that there's way more to it than just dialing up the songs and just pushing buttons. You gotta do things. These guys, the two that we're talking to right here, Dale and Randy, these guys have become masters at reading the room. And that's what you have to do. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to go up there and do a group song with people, knowing that you're going to flop, right? Even as a musician, I know Dale was a musician. It's hard to get, like for me, it's hard to get out of my comfort zone because I don't want to look like an ass up there, but you have to do it. You have to be willing to sing Barbie Girl with people and do all these things if that's what they want. So that's just a little FYI for some of you out there. But I love these conversations, and it's great to be amongst a couple of the best in town.
Well, Dale can sing, so he could join in and help people. Me and Brooke have to be the comic relief.
You know what, though, Randy? You can sing. That's the difference. I'm just up there just, yes, you can. And I'm always like, Randy, you're singing with me, right? You're singing with me. And he's like, yeah, I picked one out because there's 2 singers. Because I'm like, thank God.
Yep, comic relief. Comic relief.
Yeah. I have to have a few drinks in me to do it by myself. And then I'm dancing. And I mean, he makes it fun, though. But I can attest, you do kind of stretch the limit for me sometimes where you're like, you know this song.
So Dale, why don't you tell us what you're up to right now? What's going on in the karaoke world for you?
Oh yeah. I love the weekly gig. I did Saturdays for a long time. And then, around the whole COVID area there, that's where stuff started to shut down and change a lot for all of us. But I did Saturdays for about 6 years, and then I was off for a few months. And then I was like, well, I need another karaoke gig. I need that extra income again. And I was thinking about a Thursday night. So I thought Thursdays would be a good night to get something going. I could have that, income, but then also have my weekends off. So Thursdays at the Grotto right now. I know Grotto has had a long history of karaoke there. They've had pretty good, successful nights with, trivia and bingo and stuff like that. So I'm doing it there on Thursdays, and I'm the TV producer in the news at 1011 News. And that's my regular basic Monday through Friday gig. And then I still pick up weddings here and there. Used to do those a lot. Now I just do them kind of when they come along, when people I know or that I get referred. And those are always fun to do too. And that's part of the whole science thing of running these shows, whether it's karaoke or whether it's a wedding or whether you're DJing like a tailgate party. Like I love doing those too. Or if you're in a band, you're, like Randy said, reading the room. And that's, once you dial in, there's a little science to play, how you place a song and where you place it and what vibe and what mood you want right now and when to change it. All that is the fun part for me. Like once you dial in and once you figure out a room and you own it and they're yours, and everything you play it lights it up. That's part of the fun of it.
I used to have the No Country Power Hour because we'd be rocking and everybody be having a great time. And then, about 1:00, then all of a sudden you'd have these people want to sing these sad country songs. And I'm like, you guys, you should do that at the start of the night. I want your power stuff here at the end when everybody's having a good time. You ever found any tricks that you like to do with that?
Yeah, that's one of them too. They come up and whether they bring it to you on a slip or whether they come up and just tell you what song they want to do. That's where you're like, oh man, it's Friday night. Like, you look at the energy. People are up, they're moving, they're dancing to these songs. Think about what that song is going to do. And yes, you love it. I know you love it. Think about the time. Think about the moment. Think about right here and right now and what that song is going to do. Otherwise, unless you know that they can sing it really well and really nail it and really kill it, sometimes you have to sort of not kind of guide them, or kind of give a little bit of advice. But sometimes they just want to do it and they want to do it. So
you have like a little suck knob because it like turn it down a little bit. No, I'm kidding. That's what I always look over. I'm like, why is the microphone not working?
That's what that piece of tape that has Brooke on it on my mixer board. Now you know, Brooke. Now you know.
Oh, I thought that was something special. Okay, that totally makes sense now. Oh, damn it, Rander. I think he has turned the mic off on me a few times. And I don't think it's because of the singing. It was when I started talking afterwards. Because I don't know. Mike is my best friend.
She's always yelling at me, Randy, give me the mic.
I do. And he's like, oh, I could just feel him like, here you go. And then he presses the Brooke button. And then I'm just talking to myself.
It works a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I'm pretty loud though. I don't need a mic sometimes. Just kidding. Dale, so you were talking about you're a producer for a news station, and I was in the radio for a little bit, and I got to see the back part of that, and I got to see, like, with Randy, I got to see the back part of karaoke, and so but at the news station, like, I am intrigued by that. I would love to come and like just watch you guys work because I've never actually got to be behind the scenes there. So tell us a little bit about that part of your life.
It is really fun seeing that come together, like being behind the scenes of that, because I'm in the newsroom and I'm kind of piecing together the 5 and the 6 o'clock shows, putting little scripts in here, graphics here, figuring out the order of the stories that we're going to do and grouping things together, whatever. You're piecing it together. But my ears are always on, and I'm seeing the anchors and the reporters and the assignment editors and the assignment managers kind of hollering out there, sort of like it's very hot in there, it can be really popping in there. And when things ramp up, when the energy is ramped up over it might be a huge car accident, or it might be some Husker news or election time, stuff like that. When things ramp up in the newsroom, there's an energy and you feel it kind of ramp up. And then like I was talking earlier, it calms back down and then it ramps up again over another story. It's fun seeing it happen and seeing it come together and seeing people chasing after an interview with somebody and running out, a reporter like just dropping what they're doing and picking up their gear and going without even knowing where they're going. They're like, they just get their phone out, and then the managers are texting them addresses and texting them where to go and whatnot, and which person to talk to. It's pretty exciting, and it's fun seeing it come together. And some of those guys are just true professionals, like the anchors that have been there for years and years and years. The weather guys, they're amazing.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been with 1011 now for 7 years, and that was really my first TV job. Before that, it was all radio for 25 something years. But I've been there 7 years now, and I've seen some reporters kind of come and go pretty quick. They do put in their 2-year contract and then they move up to a bigger market somewhere, but others stick around for a long time. And we've got a weather guy, obviously, that's been there for 47 years now, and he's one of the coolest guys I've ever met. So
now did you go to school for that, or how did you get into the radio?
I went to school in broadcasting. I went to University of Nebraska Kearney at the time. It was Kearney State when I first went, but then it was University of Nebraska Kearney. Majored in broadcasting. I did like one semester would be TV and the next would be radio. And I gravitated toward radio. I did the whole college radio station thing there. I really got into radio probably back in grade school. I remember our little teen dances. They had a guy from KFRX, the pop station of the day, was the host and the DJ. And I just looked at him like, wow, that's that guy on the radio. So that was kind of where that started. Same with like shows like WKRP in Cincinnati, even before that. late 70s, early 80s. Stuff like that just kind of pushed me towards being one of those guys on the radio. And it's a brutal business, but it was fun.
So I know this is like trying to pick your favorite kid or something. Do you have a favorite like karaoke or news or radio, or is it just all different in a sense and you love them all, and you have your differences with all of them? Or is there one that you really, really like?
That is hard to say because they all are part of the same gang. And like, so, being in TV, production and being a producer and like editing video and chopping and editing, splicing, making it, it's all part of the same thing. I did that in radio too. I made commercials and voiced commercials and sang jingles and all of that kind of thing. So just being able to, it's a creative thing. I get to use a little bit of creative juice. And so in that way, they're all the same. I loved doing radio, but there are things about the radio business that sort of knock it down a few notches, just the way the business goes. Independent radio and like commercial-free radio and stuff like that, community radio stations is kind of has a little more of the vibe that I like. And obviously podcasting now is part of that too. I mean, that's a great outlet for people like me and like Kane that loved what we did with radio, but it's just a new way to get our stuff out there. So it's hard to say what a favorite is. With TV, I love editing video. I love piecing together pieces of video and making something out of it, making it flow. Same with music. I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite. There's parts of them that all stand out above the rest.
I would think your favorite would be DJing strip clubs. That's
right.
If you ask me, I know that you've done that. I'm dying to ask you about your time DJing at the strip club. I want to steal Brooks' thunder here. I want to ask about the craziest things you ever seen. Were there wigs flying? Tell me about your time DJing at the strip club.
It's very weird. That was in Dallas. The place, I don't even think it exists anymore. It was called Texas Showgirls was the name of the bar, but that was a weird experience for me. I'm not much of a strip club guy, and being in it and then working in it is much different, obviously, than going in it and enjoying it for what it is and sitting at a table and having a drink. But seeing the inner workings of it kind of makes it, I don't know. It's not my scene, just the way it brought it down a few notches, but it was pretty crazy. It was a wild time. Like the girls, you meet, you get to be close with them. They treat you a little differently because you're not one of those marks out there that they turn on that charm for that person to obviously work them for tips and money and whatever. But the people like the bartenders and the DJs and the managers and owners get treated way differently. So it's a very unique environment and very different. And, as a DJ, I needed a job and I thought, well, there's DJs that work there. Might as well try it. And it was fun. It was fun. I can't say much bad about it, but it's just not my scene. And plus, there's only so many Destinies that you can introduce. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Destiny to the stage.
Okay, Dale, listen. Dale. I've always wanted to do that because I'm like, here is Stephanie Steinway.
Yeah.
Give it up for Stephanie. Get your dollar bills out.
Mm.
I've always wanted to do that, but
It's kind of fun. Yeah, you can have fun with it, and especially when they go. It's like a Rolodex of names that they flip through for stripper names, and that's kind of the fun part of it is the different names or the same names that you see all the time.
Here comes Brooke Johnson.
I know.
That doesn't sound good.
That actually
River Dicks.
It work in porn.
DJ, got it.
One of my locations used to be next to the strip club, and so a lot of the workers and the girls would come over and drink at my place, and so periodically, of course, say, Randy, you got to come over, and I'm like, okay, and I would every once in a while, and I know what you mean because they, when they're working, they're turning on the charm for all the guys. And I always found it so weird. I would just be sitting at the bar doing whatever business with it, coming over and then, they just walk up naked and just start talking to like, hey, Randy, how you doing today? Like, how's the weather? And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't imagine being in this atmosphere all the time. I feel so bad in some ways for some of them, but then again, some of them tell me, look, it's an opportunity they take advantage of, making money at a time when maybe going working a minimum wage job isn't cutting it. So I really don't judge on that area, but it is funny to watch them, how they can literally turn from normal to turning on the charm to make that extra dollar.
Yeah. And like you said, sitting there talking to you about the weather, talking about whatever, they're totally naked, but then they go and talk to a customer and they're posed and they're doing their hand motions and they're touching them in certain ways, rubbing their shoulders, whatever. It's just kind of, it's silly. And you see the act from the other side.
Well, it's a performance. It's just like, you get up on stage or there's a lot of jobs out there too that don't consist of taking your clothes off, but you have to kind of put on a performance. And I know in the bartending for a long time, it's not that you're fake. It's just that you are kind of performing a little bit because, if you were really your true self and what was going on in your head, then you might not make any tips. So it's kind of like, you're not being fake. It's just, you have to kind of perform a little bit. So if you got on stage with a rock star and you just got up there and just like didn't do anything, nobody would want to come see you, So yeah.
And the strip club DJ has to pump them up and has to get guys involved and has to push them up there. Like, get up there, guys, and show them your love and throw some dollar bills out there. And, it's.
Hey, Kane, why do I feel like this is a segment? This is leading to a segment for a commercial for our Sasquatch.
Yes, our beard oil.
That's definitely the next one. But what beard are we talking about?
I'm just saying, why did I have that funny feeling? This is the prelude to that commercial.
That is one heck of an idea, Randy. I think that we are going to run the ads. We're going to run the Elegant Sasquatch ad. We're going to run the Sly Inc. ad. And when we come back, we're going to do a little local roundup, talk about local sponsors, and then we'll get back to our guest, Dale Kovar. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready to rumble with the Ultimate Beard Care Showdown. Introducing our headliner, the one, the only, Squatch.
Oh, yeah, Mean Jim. Squatch in the house, and I'm here to tell you about beard products that'll make your whiskers the talk of the town. If your beard's ready to take on the world, you need the power of our beard balms, butters, and oils, brother.
That's right, Squatch. Let's kick things off with the Beard Balm of Legends.
This beard balm is like a body slam for your beard. It tackles those wild hairs and smooths them out, making your beard look like $1,000,000. No sweat, brother.
What's the scoop with the beard butter?
Oh, brother, it's a game changer. This butter makes your beard softer than a cloud and as easy to manage as a well-oiled wrestling machine. Plus, it's got a scent that's as sweet as victory. Oh, yeah.
And let's not forget the beard oil.
The beard oil is the final knockout punch. It hydrates, shines, and smells like a championship belt made of cedar and pine. Your beard will be the 1, 2, 3 of any match.
Where can our fans score these unbeatable products?
You read my mind, brother. Head on over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and grab your beard gear. And listen up. Use the code SUPERSHOW and get a jaw-dropping 20% off. That's right, 20% off. Your beard's about to go from zero to hero, brother.
That's elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and use your code SUPERSHOW for 20%. Don't wait, make your beard the ultimate champ today. Ahoy, mateys! Christopher Columbus here. You know me. I discovered America, or at least that's what the history books have been saying for years. Anyways, I have a little confession to make. My compass quit halfway through the trip, and I got lost at sea on the way there.
Ahoy, Captain. What direction should we point the boat?
Shut up, you fool. I'm in the middle of a commercial here. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yes. When we arrived on land there, the natives were all decked out in their cool Viking gear. They said these big, smelly, bearded guys came, hung out, then split with all their cool stuff.
Aye, it was a weird day.
That could have been our cool stuff. We could have claimed all this great treasure and all this pirate's plunder.
But, sir, how will we steer the boat if we don't have a compass?
Well, this next trip is going to be different. I'm heading to Sly Ink Tattoo to get a compass on my hand. After that, everything is coming up Christopher Columbus.
Ahoy, sir. That new ink looks great on you. After I swaps the poop deck and grease the hootenannies, I think we're gonna be back to spin and... Oh, no.
What is it now, you buffoon?
It appears as if America's shores are just on the horizon.
What? How could this be? I've been pointing my arm in the same direction for days. Well, looks like this tattoo compass is broken too. Guess I'll have to head back to Sly Ink for that dolphin lower back tattoo I've been wanting to get. Well, looks like our native friends are waving us in, but oh, wait, they don't look very happy. Well, until next time, friends, if there is one.
All right, everybody, let's get to the local roundup here. Let's start with one of our sponsors, Gray's Keg. Gray's Keg is starting every second Sunday in December. They're going to be having a bluegrass jam down there. So if you love bluegrass, if you're a bluegrass player, get down there, go jam with them, and go have the best time of your life every second Sunday starting in December. We've got some big shows coming in January as well, by the way. In January, we've got January 18th, Vampires Everywhere, Priest, featuring former members of Ghost. We've got Julian K, El Nihilo, hosting Monsters and Scabby Ghouls. That's an all-ages show. That's January 18th, 6 p.m. show, $20. I think you have to buy them in advance, so get those tickets while you can, everybody. But that's going to be a monster show. Then coming up very soon, sooner than you think. It's coming up fast. It'll be in January, the Battle of the Bands, the 24th and the 25th. It's going to be massive. Every year is an amazing time. Amazing show. Pearl Parade has killed it the last couple years, but this year we will see what the new blood does and see who takes home the prize. So get there, mark it on your calendars now. Gray's is doing a bunch of big things, so stay tuned for that. Also to mention, Tanks is also doing massive things, both south and the rail yard. I just recently saw that Tanks had acquired Longwell's, and they're now making it the Corner Bar. I think they're already open, so go check that out. It seems like people are packing into this place, and now they've kind of got that whole area locked down. So I believe this weekend they have the Rock Creek Coalition on Friday at Tanks South, and then Saturday they have them down in the rail yard. So you got two chances to see this great band, everybody, and see this amazing venue. If you're a venue owner, if you're a bar owner, and you want to contact us and tell us more about what you have going on, please get a hold of us at scratchthevinylpodcast@gmail.com. Also, we want to mention Roots Music. We never want to forget about Roots Music. How could you forget about it? Ryan is the best owner in town. He's always willing to work with you. He buys, sells, and trades instruments. He has it all there. They fix guitars. They do it all. They sell records, which is a plus because you can find some rare finds that you don't find at some of the other places right there at Roots. It's your shop for everything. So go to Roots, tell them that Scratch the Vinyl sent you. And now let's get back to our guest, Dale Kovar. I can honestly say that when I was finally old enough to go to the strip club, the most amazing thing to me was that I saw one of the most beautiful ladies I've ever seen in my life, and she worked really hard for $5, right? And it was just like, to me, when I think about it now, I'm like, man, that sucks. Like, who knows what was going on in her life that she had to do that? But I mean, for those that are in the business and like it, kudos to you. I know my old lady would not be okay with me being the DJ at a strip club now. But it's something that I can always dream to do.
Yeah, it's for a different time. I was in my 20s, I was kind of not really, I was on my way out of a relationship, I think at that time anyway. So it got me by for a little while, about a year, I think I did it. And it was fun and everything, but yeah, it's not my thing anymore.
And it sounded like you had some crazy times and everything, but
Definitely.
and I always And I always ask everyone, though, I mean, in all of your jobs, so in any of them, your whole life, your career, do you have a specific moment or time or something that happened that was like mind blowing? Like we've heard some pretty crazy stories about people and what they've had to witness or were a part of. And do you have one particular story that you can never forget?
That job, that strip club DJ job, when I first started and first was kind of getting introduced to some of the girls. That's the other thing too, is the girls tip the DJ at the end of their shift. Like they tip the bar backs, they tip the door guys, and they tip the DJs because we're all part of them making money. And if they have a really good day, they tip. They tip you well. And I remember meeting one, and I was always probably going to put this in my book if I ever got around to writing a book about my days. But she was one of the better looking ones too. And she put her hand out I put my hand out to introduce myself and shake her hand, and she grabbed me right in the junk and was just like, good to meet you. And I was like, what is happening? Is this real life? It was, and it still stands out as just a weird moment, but I'll never forget.
I think that's cool. That's how I usually greet people. Hello.
Right.
Why not?
And nothing else ever happened with that one. I never it didn't really go anywhere after that. We were friends, but it was it made me laugh. It was a funny way to introduce and get introduced.
Well, I can help us move on from the strip club conversation. But so Dale, now you've been doing this where you're at with 10, 11 for 7 years or so. Is there an ultimate dream job in this business that you're looking for or maybe hoping to find?
There's been a part of me that has back of my mind, and you've done it already, is own, and I don't know about owning a bar, but owning a business where I can put my experience all in to work, like everything I've learned, every place I've been, whether it was radio or whether it was bars and karaoke, wedding DJs, just whatever I was doing. If I could put that all into something that was mine and build from it. I've seen myself maybe running a bar someday that had a karaoke and had live music and had some stand-up comedy. And I know it's a nightmare probably coming from somebody that's done it, but.
Well, I did in reverse. Of course, yeah. I did the bar, and then basically what I do now is I took all the best parts of what I did, which was the entertainment side. That's the part I really enjoyed. And of course, that's what makes the people happy. And I just want to touch on something. You just brought up stand-up comedy. So I don't know if you know this, but I booked national comedy for a little over 8 years. Mm-hmm. And I had a little Lincoln scene called the Lincoln Comedy Tour. And we booked mostly Funny Bone and Comedy Central guys. And man, I loved those events. Those guys were so personable. They're willing to come out and talk to the crowd. They make themselves available. And I never found any other form of entertainment that something they just make you laugh the whole show. You're just having such a good time. And so ironically, I just had a phone call yesterday. I'm looking at starting a new segment for Scratch the Vinyl. So here it is, a big reveal announcement, but we're probably going to start doing a comedy section to our Scratch the Vinyl or In the Queue with Mr. Chill. So I hope our fans look forward to that. But I just talked to one of my national guys yesterday, and I kind of was pitching him the idea of another source of entertainment that sometimes lacks here in Lincoln. We lost the Funny Bone downtown years and years ago. I tried to revamp that in a different way, and it worked for a long time. I know that working with, her name was Colleen at the Funny Bone in Omaha, she really appreciated it because basically guys are traveling. If they're on the road, they got to make money. So if they have down days and not making money, they're just sitting in the hotel losing out. And so I always provided an opportunity for guys working through the Midwest, maybe on their way to Denver or Kansas City or whatever, to work the Funny Bone circuit. I would be able to provide a day or two, while they're traveling and make up some of that. So a lot of those guys, basically, if you want to book a comic, $1,500 for one day. But if you can get them working multiple days or catch them on a, you know, an open date in between other gigs, you can actually, that can be very reasonable and provide some great entertainment for the community. So
I think Lincoln would benefit from more of that again too. I had a few friends that were kind of doing it around here within the last couple of years. Like they'd find a bar and I think Rumology was, which I think recently changed hands and is now going to be something else. But they had a comedy night where my friend would kind of be the host and the one putting it together. And then he'd bring in 5-6 regional comics from around here and put together really cool shows that way. And I got to know a few of them that way. So I'm sure I could send some of those your way. But same with bands too. Like Lincoln and Nebraska itself is a great pickup spot between Colorado and Iowa and Kansas and the Dakotas. Any of those traveling circuits, Lincoln's a great middle spot for them to stop off and pick up a gig and not have to do such a long drive. They'll come here, spend the night halfway to Colorado or halfway to Des Moines or Kansas City. It's a great middle spot for bands and comics to have a stop off and make some money.
You're right, Dale. That's how we got Johnny Paycheck. Kelly up. They just called up, say, hey, we're going through. Can we show up? I'm like, heck yeah, you can. And then we had a great time there. And I agree. We need more humor, more comedy. We just need that in general in our life. And that is something that I love so very much. I think we all need it. It's very therapeutic. And I think it's a great idea to do something like that. And Lincoln needs it. I think the world needs it.
Comedy's going through a boom right now too. I mean, there's more comedians than ever, and they're getting hugely popular with their podcasts and with their tours and playing stadiums and arenas. And it's really on a good trajectory to be really big again.
Well, my good friend Reginald McMean, who used to own Duffy's, started, what was the original comedy workshop downtown here in Lincoln. And we've had 5 or 6 really big name guys ultimately come out of, right out of here in Lincoln that have done really well. And of course, Scott Hatfield still owns it and has kept that tradition going. But it was a great way for young guys to just get stage time, to work on material. I did one at my place where I used an improv troupe, kind of an improv workshop, so people could come and kind of learn what improv is all about, because they're, different forms of comedy. And so I totally believe in it. And it's just another great source of entertainment that we have or have had here in Lincoln that maybe a lot of people don't know about.
Well, a good friend of mine, Doc Peterson, and maybe that's who you're talking about. I know he was tied into Rumology, and he packed the bourbon with comedians. Yeah, he's doing really well. I'd love to get him on the show also. But what seems to be lacking to me when I look at this type of, it doesn't feel like we have a lot of great open mics, and we don't have we're just not pushing it. So I think that's amazing, Randy. If that is going to happen, there's no reason why a town this big shouldn't have funny people up there on stage entertaining people and have a nice circuit or pipeline for us to go and see comedy as well. Comedy is right there, not very far from music anyway. So the entertainment business should be booming here. I think we're going to see a massive resurgence in the band scene, which I think is going very strong, but some people would disagree. In the comedy scene, all of that, I think that we're going to see a massive resurgence, and we're going to see Lincoln is going to be booming here in the next 5 to 10 years.
Like I said, I just talked to a couple of the guys that used to come through. They still reach out to me, even though I don't really have a place anymore to do that. Kind of like how I do with karaoke. If you treat, I always treated the entertainment like they were special in a way, if you know what I mean, because they bring the energy, and those guys loved working with me here in town and would tell other comics, hey, if you're coming through Lincoln, you should call Randy up and see if he can book you a date. And so, like I said, I was just talking to a couple of them the other day and was telling them about our podcast. And I just think it's so important to be able to it's kind of what our purpose has been, is to kind of get the word out for all types of entertainment here in Lincoln and in this state. And I'm looking forward to doing it, because I think it's going to be a nice added segment to what we do.
So Dale, real quick, before I'm sure we have to wrap up pretty soon. But when you going to be doing your karaoke stuff? I know you kind of mentioned it in the beginning, but give us some dates and some places so we can come see you.
Sure. I do Thursday nights at the Grotto right now. That's kind of the regular spot. So Thursdays at Grotto Bar and Grill, 70th and A, there at the Clock Tower Shopping Center. It's a fun spot. There's a good group of regulars that come in and always sing fun stuff. So that's my regular. And then every once in a while, and I always put it on Facebook too, that I'll be out in, like I do out, Seward is my hometown. So I go back there and do some shows every other month or so. They'll have me at the spare time there in Seward, or Staplehurst is another one of the neighboring towns. So I usually blast it out there on Facebook. But
I was going to say, probably social media. You probably got stuff all over there.
Sure.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Mm-hmm. That's where you get that free. It's free. What can you?
Yeah, right on. Cool.
Well, Dale, I know we're running low on time, like Brooke said, but I'm glad that we got that out there so that people can find you. But I think that it's important to get to the crux of the show and why we do this. We got to ask you the big questions here, the tough ones that are hard to answer, or maybe they're not for some of you. But I got to ask you right now, what's that collection like, man? Do you got vinyl? Do you collect vinyl? Do you got a bunch of laser discs, or what do you have in your collection that you really want to talk about? What do you got?
I do. Well, I've been kind of trying to look at the background of your shop there, because I see a lot of the same kind of decor. I see a hockey mask. I have one of those downstairs in my fun house, that's where my vinyl collection is. And I have it looks like about the size that I see there, about the same, probably even the same rack. Mine's black though, but yours is white, but I have about the same amount of records. I have a wall of CDs. I have a wall of DVDs and Blu-rays. I still support some physical media here and there, even though everything's streaming now, and my taste is all over the board. I mean, it has to be kind of doing what we do. You have to have a little bit of love for every category and genre. My heart's kind of I love classic rock, love the blues. I love the Zoo Bar here in Lincoln. Then I love a lot of my music now that I like now is throwback bands that sound like they're from another era, but are current, bands like Rival Sons, Greta Van Fleet sounds like Led Zeppelin. I loved the band Jet. They sounded like AC/DC, and they come from Australia as well, and like bands that sort of have a throwback sound. I love that.
Do you have a vinyl that you've had to buy 80 times because it's been scratched so much?
Man, I don't know. I have a Johnny Cash record that cracks and pops, but those cracks and pops are part of the charm of it too. I love the sound of vinyl. It's way warmer than a CD. But anybody that's in business or in music and has a collection of some sort, it just piles up. It comes to you, it gathers, it fills up a room, and then suddenly you're alphabetizing it every couple of years. You have to go back through it and reorganize. And
so we always said, if you make a record, you need to make at least in your pack, have 3, so you can give one away, you can scratch one and save one.
Yes.
Yeah, always
leave one in the shrink wrap.
Yeah. Right on.
Well,
yes.
you did get Kane really excited by bringing up Greta Van Fleet, though.
That's great band. When they first came out and I first heard them, and you first heard that voice, and not only just the big hit songs, but when you started listening to the album, you're like, this sounds like Led Zeppelin that I've never heard. Like, it sounds like Zeppelin's making new music.
We've got a whole episode on it on our podcast.
I've probably heard that one. Yeah, I think I heard that.
Well, Dale, first off, I want to thank you for taking time to talk with us today, kind of a brother in arms in the business a little bit. And
Definitely.
I really want to wrap up by saying this. And I say this to a lot of DJs that because we do a lot of the same stuff, is that it's very important for us to support each other. And I try to do my best all the time to help everybody in the community I can, because to make this a great industry, we have to make it viable for everywhere, and have to make it, good, no matter where everybody goes, whether they go to your show, my show, somebody else's show, or a concert or whatever. If we make the entertainment industry in town great, then it makes the whole scene great. And so, from me to you, I just want to say, I appreciate what you do, and we wish you the best of luck out there.
Definitely. I appreciate it too. I know you and I have probably groups of the same regulars. I know a lot of my regulars are also your regulars, and vice versa. That's the way it goes. And there's enough of it. There's enough of them for everybody. So like, there's no hate. There's no competition really. It's all just keep going, keep supporting your businesses, keep supporting the bars you love and the karaoke guys that you love and have fun with.
Well, at the local level, I mean, I've always said this about it doesn't have to be this clash everywhere. It can be a buffet for everybody to enjoy, especially in the karaoke business and the music business. So like the backstabbing and all that stuff. I'm so glad you said that, because there's no reason why your crowd can't go meet and mingle with Randy's crowd and create this massive group of people. So I think you're doing a fantastic job. I want to thank you for being here. Do you have anything to say before we go, Brooke? Nope, it doesn't look like it.
What? Brooke was speechless?
That just really took me off guard. Oh, I was on mute. I literally muted myself.
Dale, if you didn't know, we have a 5-second delay for Brooke.
Yeah, it's called the Brooke button. Dale, though, no, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to go see you again. I have been to a few of your shows, and they are so much fun. They're so much fun. Now, if I go up and I want to sing something, will you please change it to something else?
Just
tell me that there's too many. Sorry, I can't get you in. I'm like, dude, I just got here. We just started. No, I already got a list.
I can just play the real song and you can lip sync.
Oh, could I do that? Oh my God. People would think I was like a real singer.
Be amazing.
That dream would come true. Well, thank you, Dale. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Scratch the Vinyl this week. Don't forget to come back next week for another amazing guest like Dale. And please, for goodness sake, scratch that vinyl. We'll talk to you guys soon, everybody. See you next week.
Scratch the vinyl.